was it at that time? Let's say like we fast forward now, you know, funky house. Because for me, I first kind of heard about funky house.
Yeah.
I think it was Fish Go Deep.
Yeah.
That was the first introduction I had to it. Did you ever think you'd have the impact you'd had on it? Because I think when people think of funky house, we think of Donaeo.
Do you want me to be honest?
Go for it.
By the time, yes, I did. By the time funky came, I'd gone through the end of grime, gone through the end of garage, went through grime, and did well in bassline. Mm-hmm. So I had an understanding of culture and what people see how you say like the funky house was ingrained in us. If you ask anyone who came from the hardcore era, or the jungle era, or the garage era, they'll say the same thing. It was ingrained in us. The reason that is because club culture is a massive part of UK culture to all races. In every race, has like a scene that's just for the clubs. The Asian scene has it, the Latino scene, the white people have it, blacks, Africans, West Indians. We all have music that we need to hear out loud and we need to congregate and we need to... It's not like that anywhere else in the world. Like clubbing's kind of like... It's seen as a little hobby, whereas we take it serious. Clubbing is serious business over here.
Yeah,
right?
Massively.
So when funky came, I knew the signs. I was like, okay, I'm raving to this all the time. I know all the DJs. I know what type of funky I want to make. I know if I do this I did in grime, this I did in garage, this I did in bassline, I could murk. And if I do all those things, I could be the king. Yeah. But I didn't, if I wasn't the king and I was just making, I would have been happy anyway. But I knew that in my head, I was like, well, technically, everything has a formula. It might have a different face. Like every watch, like say, what a watch looks like, whether it's a digital or a moving face, the behind the scenes is all the same.
Yeah.
It's like human beings, like someone with white skin, someone with Asian skin, safe. Our lungs look exactly the same, bro. So to blow up a record in garage is the same as blowing up a record in funky. Even nowadays, right? Pirate radio. Do you know what pirate radio is now? GRM Daily, Link Up TV, different face. Same thing.
Yeah, it's where people are getting their source of their music from.
Exactly.
Fresh from the river.
And that's what I'm saying. So because club culture is important to us, a freedom of making music is also important. Do you know what I mean? Because music has to be like, I can say whatever I want about me being the king of funky, right? But let's be honest, that doesn't guarantee that everyone's going to like my tunes.
Yeah, of course.
Does that make sense? Like you've got to have a...
No, but they're all vibes though. How can you not vibes though?
Yeah, but you've got to have one thing I've learned, even for your own mental health, is you've got to have I'm a king mentality, but you also got to have I ain't shit mentality too. Because what it does is it balances it out. It's like, okay, so I am king, but then don't let it get to your head because you got to go work tomorrow. And these are the people, like, you can't be stunting on the people you're with 8 hours a day, every day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because I had a job then, and then on top of that as well, I'd given up music by funky.
Okay.
I was thinking about getting a job because I hadn't gone through having a job. I wasn't going on holiday with my friends. I wasn't like taking girls out on dates. I was just the Rolling Stone, whack lifestyle. I tell you right now, it's not attractive. You're always broke. You're not really growing up with people. You're not socializing.
And this was during like when you was making a lot of that music.
Yeah, so I was like 23. This is before I like got into it. I was like 23.
Yeah. I'm
not driving. I haven't gone to Napa with my friends.
Oh wow.
And I was just like, this is whack. I've given my life to this thing, and it's given me nothing back. Nothing but sorrow, really, if I'm honest. Between like garage and funky, I wasn't really happy. So I just scrapped music. Me and one of my friends sat down and we had a serious and he's like, D, you need to have a job. Like, you need to have money. Like we went on holiday for the first time. I managed to save up. I don't know how I did.
Yeah.
I've always been good at making money.
Yeah.
And then when we went on holiday, a lot of my friends, they just sat me down and was like, look, it's all good, but like, bro, that should just be music should be a plan B. Like you should have been coming out on holiday with us from when you was 19. That's when we had the best times. You know them way there.
Yeah.
So I got the job at Carphone Warehouse, and my aim was to get the experience for a year, and then look, while I'm getting the experience, look for a company I want to work for, start at the bottom there, and work my way up to the top. Yeah. Then Funky was like, I've got a talent. Yeah. Everybody knows life is hard. We all know people that have 9 to 5s, but are still shotting. They don't want to, but this 9 to 5 ain't helping enough.
Yeah.
I've got a talent that can give me that little piece of extra money. Who am I to say, don't do it? Do you know what I mean? Who am I to say, nah, because God said here, you can do this. You can either choose this or that. Because eventually, I'm getting a 9 to 5. I would have been in shotter too, really. Let's be honest. Like, as much as you're a good person, when life gets hard and you start having kids and you have to make certain decisions, people forget. Some people are built badly. But there's a lot of good people that have to do bad things to survive.
Yeah.
Because life is not easy.
Yeah. To put food on the table, you've got kids and stuff. There's a lot of people. I think that sometimes gets confused where sometimes...
Sorry to get serious, but you wanted to know, innit? So
No. I think that's really important because I think, you said in that area between you doing garage and funky, that is like, even for like myself, I think, oh right, like, how comes you weren't making music in that time? Because, before then we had, Tiny Temper when he was kind of blowing up around that time as well. And I think a lot of artists kind of started emerging where they started really kind of getting chart success. I think that kind of tiny areas where you really seen it. Obviously we had it before with people like So Solid, but you had, Tinchy Strider, you had N-Dubs, it's that kind of Channel U era really started kind of charting.
I missed that whole era.
Yeah.
I wasn't a part of that at all. That's the only era in British black history I've never been a part of.
Do you regret it?
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant for me.
Yeah. So what was the transition of you going from, okay, I'm going to do 9 to 5, and then Funky House happened and the tracks like Party Hard happened. How did that transition start?
It all boils down to me maturing as a man. Because what happened was I was like, okay, I'm going to spend however much time I need to spend on making the tracks as best as I can make them. They only took like 6 months.
Wow.
To make. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's an absolute banger, by the way.
And this was my rule. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was going to leave my job for music, I would have had to have made twice the money I was making at my job for 12 months straight. Do you know what I mean? So I was working for like 6 months, and then 12 months after that I left. And I started making way more than double. But I had to say, like, if I'm going to leave, I need security. I'm a grown man now.
I understand, definitely.
I'm not on like. And so that's basically it. Like I started making, and then things like Glastonbury was coming, and I had to lie to my job. And the thing is, my manager, she was mad cool. I knew she knew I was Donaeo. Because at that point, you gotta remember, at that point, like no one really knows. Like there wasn't anyone in the office that really knew. I could go under the radar. Carphone Warehouse, not so much, but Safe Estates, I could go under the radar. So when I'm like, oh, my mum's sick. She's just like, yeah, don't worry. I'm performing at Glastonbury. Next week is on the One Extra website. I'm thinking, I know she's seen it. Do you know what I mean? So one day she sat me down, and I was like, I'm going to leave. And she goes, all right, cool, you got your 3-month probation.
Yeah.
Halfway in, something happened and I had to and my mum's sick, I've got to look after her. She just took me in the office and sat me down, and she still held her composure. She goes, you know what? If your mum is that sick, just go. It's fine. We'll give you an excellent reference. Because let me tell you something. The day I decided, I'm going to grow up, I was the best. I remember going to Carphone Warehouse, right? And when they was teaching us how to do the customer service and run the computers, when everyone else was joking, I'm not cracking jokes with no one.
Mm.
I'm like, you know what? I can crack jokes with you guys later. I'm gonna master this, and then once I've mastered this, and then I started noticing like, bro, when you work really hard, like there was some grown people here that saw that, and they would give me attention, and they would like help me out with certain things, and I got loads of perks in Car Phone Warehouse. So when I went to Safer States, I really excelled. Because my thing was about doing an excellent job. Mm-hmm. So when I was like to leave, that helped, that gave me credit. It was almost like, you know what, you've given us more than, we would love to keep you, but if you got to go, you got to go. Yeah. But because I was such a great employee, it allowed me to leave before the 3-month period. I probably didn't last like a month.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think what's really beautiful to hear is like, the struggle, I always say, is the most important part of the beginning of your career, of how you struggle to get there.
Yeah.
Because it teaches you so much when you finally get to that position. And I remember the same thing when I was working in retail. I was working in Levi, and the first video I'd done that kind of went viral was at different types of MCs. And I come in the next day at work, and it's like people, they know I do comedy, but they don't really know who I am in terms of comedy, what I've done before and stuff. So I'm coming to work, and I remember that day going into work and everyone was like, hey, I seen your video last night. And I was like, oh yeah, cool man, cool. Anyway, I'm just gonna go down to the staff room because this is awkward. So when you was really like at your height of your career, like when I say like your height of your career, when I talk about like that funky house period, because I just remember that period of like, for me, that was a really good time for myself because I was able to perform to my peers. Such. When I was doing comedy shows, you know, I was the kind of generation where the people coming to the shows were my age who wouldn't experience comedy shows, but they were different. Not just comedy, you had music, you had poetry and stuff. So I think for myself, it helped that kind of cohesive environment of like, you got this MC who's starting out, I'm a comic who's starting out. So we all kind of...
the beginnings of what's happening now.
Yeah. And I remember like someone like yourself, you was at the height of like, you know, you king of funky house. So how was that period for you? Because did you ever feel like, yes, I'm the king of funky house? Did you ever feel like people looked to you as like, what's Donaeo doing next? Because... Of
course.
You know?
But I didn't have to handle it better then.
Yeah.
Because it's just a title. It's just a title that says, you've done so well, we deem you responsible enough. That's how I look at it. Mm-hmm. We deem you responsible enough to hold this title.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a human being. Stuff like that is going to get to your head. And this is where I think some of our teachings, they don't explain things properly. You can't stop something from getting to your head. Mm-hmm. What you can control is how you react to those feelings.
Yeah.
You can say, you can separate yourself and go, yeah, they do call me king, but that doesn't mean you don't say hello to people. Yeah, you're feeling good about yourself right now, but that doesn't mean you still shouldn't spend 3 months making the best song you've done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when you grow up and you start realizing, oh, maybe I was actually destined to be a leader, you have to kind of take that serious and be like, what does that mean to you? Because that positive energy, do you know what? Everyone screaming my name did help me want to make more bangers. It helps. Do you know what I mean? When everyone's cheering you on and you're doing stuff and you're mature enough to handle that energy and you're experienced enough to manage that energy, bruv, great things can happen.
Yeah.
But if you let it get to your head and you start, and like you're missing the trick by not finding a balance. You know what I mean? Sometimes you've got to let people praise you.
Yeah.
You got to let people cheer for you. But there's a way of doing it that they don't feel bad about it. And you get what you need at. You get your ego boosted, but they don't feel like idiots.
Yeah.
Showing you that love to the point where they can feel like they can give it to you again. Because that's what I'm saying. When Bounce was blowing, I was a cocky little shit, bruv. Like, remember, I'm deemed as a genius, right? I'm aware of that. When you're young, you kind of think you've got superpowers and you don't realise, you're just a genius at one thing. Yeah. This person's a genius at something. Like I used to be heavy with music, couldn't tell you how to chat up again.
nervous, sweat, can't chat to girl. My brethren are there. They'll just be talking to one girl that I've pissed off, trying to talk to her.
Yeah.
And they just get the number. She's laughing, belling them down. They were just like, you just have to, you kind of grow up and then you realise everybody has something that they're great at. And you just have to respect it. You have to respect it. But of course, I definitely took on that king mantle. But I just made sure I managed it really well.
Yeah.